Just did my first shamanic healing with Nicole, and my name is Pat, and I just did my first experience with Nicole, and we went on a shamanic journey together. When you first come in the office, it's beautiful and it's peaceful, and you almost want to walk around and look at everything, but honestly, you've got other business to do too. So we talked a little bit about who we were and started to build a relationship, because it really is a journey that you have together, as you probably know. It's a journey that you take, and you might want to have more than just one journey. Because of how I look at things, I'll have more than one journey versus just having, a one-time hit. So we talked about the different kinds of journeys one might have, and today we talked about a little bit about me and about my experiences and so forth. And I talked a little bit to understand what her experiences were too. So then you go into another room, which is also very nice, and a very nice wall water feature. You're just in your regular clothes, and you're on your back, and then there's no pain involved. There's nothing. You're just relaxed, and the next thing you know, you're on this journey. So, and then the journey ends. I don't have any idea how long this journey was, but here I am.
Cool. Well, to answer that question, you were in it for approximately 2.5 hours. We did a little bit longer with you today because I figured you needed a longer session with the healing itself. So I did take a little bit longer with you today.
Holy moly. Well, I have to tell you.
How long did it feel you were gone?
I thought 30 minutes.
Oh.
I really didn't know, except I will say that towards the end, I was feeling like there was a long ride. And I thought, really, I have a really short attention span, but if it was over 2 hours, I did really good. So, wow, thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel great.
Yeah, so do you feel light right now?
Yes, I feel, I'm really happy.
Good.
And I feel my bones and that, I haven't had any medicine today, and I feel good, and I just, there's a part in here that you identify people who, or yourself. I can't explain it enough to be the shaman, because I'm not, but there's a point in here where you give forgiveness. And I never thought about forgiveness in my life. I never thought I had people to forgive. And I never thought about forgiving myself. And that was really, really beneficial. Because I feel very lighthearted. So
that's good.
Yeah, very lighthearted.
So let's go to the beginning of your journey where we took you up to the higher realms. And I know we kind of chatted before the video about it. What do you recall of that, or whom did you get to maybe see? Maybe loved ones, guides, angels, or guardians, or what? How did that come to you, if it did?
I saw my mom, who's passed, and my dad, who's also passed, and I saw an aunt who is a healer herself, and I had actually, as a child, had met her. So, and I've always been inquisitive, and it just seems that when there are just times that I think of her, and I don't really know her. She never talked to me. She had dementia by the time I met her as a person, and when I was old enough to understand who it was. But yeah, those are three of the people. And then when I went to this higher place, I felt kind of a little bit of, I felt calm. But kind of like, it's like kind of having a Christmas tree and you don't know what's under the tree. So I wasn't quite, I don't know where I was going to get, but I knew, but I guess I got wherever I needed, since was there for 2 hours. So I don't, you don't remember, you remember things, but you don't, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
2 hours is just, I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah. And then what about, did they have any messages for you, or did you get any feelings from them that once you got to connect with them?
They smiled. They just were all smiling. And it was the oddest thing, because I wouldn't think that people who have passed would necessarily, I mean, they weren't just grinning the whole time, but they smiled and looked happy to see me.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that I saw their faces. I mean, I saw their faces, which was very happy, made me very happy.
Yay. And then...
I saw my mom more than anyone else. But
yeah, and how'd that feel with getting to connect with her?
It was great, but what's really odd is that I've been really having I don't have any problems with, I mean, never had problems with my mom growing up or any time, but it's really been interesting. I've been having nightmares about my mom, and so that she's been evil, and she came through and just smiled a lot, so it's really odd. The whole thing was a little bit
bizarre.
it was a little bizarre. I guess she was allowing me to forgive her, so.
Cool. And then, now we were also talking about what you thought they all looked like, or the light beings. What would you describe that?
There were some others that just looked like a white light, a round white light, and it wasn't like it wasn't like solid, and there wasn't really a face on it. There was one that looked like it had a kind of an old nose.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize the nose.
Okay.
But otherwise, I saw several of those, and they were all helpful when in other parts of my journey, and helping find places that needed to be forgiven, and help me find it, and help me build strength to do that. I think, they were helpful to be with me. I felt like it was a little bit better to have people with you, or whatever they were with me.
Right.
Yeah, so I felt better.
Good. And then we moved on to the throat chakra, so the throat area.
It's very odd, because I've been having a lot of trouble with my throat because of something that had happened to me, and right before you started to deal with the throat, I started
to get nervous,
not being able to talk. I mean, I was like starting to feel like I was going to have a coughing fit, and then you started talking about my throat, and I thought, oh my God, she's going to make me talk. All this is like going on in my head, but but it was like, well, you talked about things, and then all of a sudden we were talking about my throat, and then we were talking about releasing my throat and releasing what was in my throat, and what was coming out and going in, and taking care of what I was saying and how I was saying things and how people were saying things to me. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was right. Oh, yeah. So, and by the end, my throat didn't feel. Somebody had choked me out, assaulted me. So that's what I really have had trouble speaking again, and all of a sudden I felt. I don't think I said anything, but I felt like I could give a big speech and not have any trouble. So I felt happy.
Good.
Yeah, I felt happy.
And it was also about connection to self, like having a better relationship with self. Do you remember that? Giving yourself all the things you need.
Well,
or telling yourself all the things you need.
I don't know if I realized that was part of that, But I know there was a part in the whole journey where it was really the message that I clearly came away with is that you have to you have to not only help others, but you can't ever forget about yourself. And if you forget about yourself, it's real easy not to be able to help yourself. So forget helping anybody else because you're going down. So during the journey, there were times to don't forget about yourself. There was a planting you got to do, and I don't want to give away any big things, but there was a planting you got to do, and that was, I can tell you, I just was so joyous and elated, and
cool.
Yeah, because the bad plants were gone.
Yeah, so that was the planting of the heart chakra.
Was
yeah,
it?
So that was when we went to the heart chakra. So that was getting rid of the weeds.
Oh, the weeds in the plants.
And you were actually physically moving, and you were actually pulling on your stomach area. So you were actually like physically working. I could tell on that part.
I had a lot of weeds, but boy, I planted a lot of plants and flowers, and I mean, I had the best garden. So, yeah. And how did it feel getting rid of the weeds? Like I had space. Like I've felt, my heart's felt, my whole body has felt very congested since I've been so sick, and very lack of any space to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe, eat. You look at my size, but I haven't been eating.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it just gave me space, and when you have space for emotions and space for yourself, then you might have space too to think and about what to do for you. And I was planting things that were healthy for me, which was like not the fast stuff in the store. I was planting like cauliflower and tomatoes and
cool.
Yeah. So.
And what about the emotional states of being? How did you feel after planting all the good things like love and happiness?
Well, I was.
And health.
I felt like I was loving myself and wanting to tell people how much I love them, because I was taking care of myself, and also I planted so much I was going to offer that for people. So it was actually it wasn't a way to try to bribe anyone, but it was just like, here, this is free. I have plenty to give you, and this is a way I can give you things too. And at the same time, it has helping me. So.
And the forgiveness, obviously, we already kind of went over, and you said that felt really good and releasing.
Yeah, it felt good to identify some of the people I was somewhat ticked off with have died. I mean, what is the sense? They're died 30 years ago, but. Because they were mean, really mean, and the people that were really mean when I was growing up, but there's been a couple people that I just won't say anymore. I just will say this: there's been a couple people that made more sense to forgive them, than to keep pouring energy into disliking them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go anywhere with them, so I might as well forgive them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that energy will go towards them, and maybe they'll find happiness, or they just won't ever care about me anyway, but at least I feel happier about it, and I feel better, and I feel happy. And was so easy to forgive then.
Yes.
And it felt so good.
Yes.
Because I couldn't control and never could change what was done.
Yeah.
I could only change what I do.
And what you carry with you.
And what I carried with me. And I felt better. And I was like, let me find some more people.
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels so good.
Yeah. I felt each of the experiences in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, to say I liked it, I guess I liked It could be addicting. There's no drugs, there's nothing. There's just, you just relax and go with your belief system. Yeah.
Yeah.